Hi guys, how you doing? Senior Gaming here, and in today's episode I'm bringing you Marriage Girls and we're gonna talk some gear. So if you're a Marriage Girls player or perhaps idle gamer, then make sure you subscribe to the channel as I post as often as possible and bring you best tips and advice. And that's no different today because we're talking gear, and gear in RPG games is that ultimate goal. You always want to have this shiny armor and a best weapon in the game, and that's obviously what we're gonna discuss today. So I go for you a few things. We're gonna discuss where we're gonna get the sort of gear from, how we can actually get a resource to upgrade it, then upgrading itself, and obviously few things around the items and how we can put them in a sets, etc. Right, so without further ado, let's jump to a first point, which is where we get in a gear from. So from our main menu, you're gonna head over to a world section at the bottom. And the first one we can see here is a called boss stage, and that's gonna be one of these first elements you're gonna unlock when you just start in a game. So there is a various amount of different bosses you'll be facing about, and as you see, some of them you will be sort of completing the first two stages, and then the game actually will sets you back to a very first one. So currently, when it comes to Borges, I have managed to clear it all 4 stages, and every single boss has actually 4. So currently I'm at a Grez the Shaman, and this is roughly where I'm farming now. When I mean farming, it's obviously once you unlock one of these bosses on a 3 stars, it gives you option of Wipeout, meaning you now maximizing potential of how many items you're gonna get, and obviously rewards in form of gold as well. And you got a chance of a basic sweep rather than go and challenge, which means you will have to face this fight manually. And there is obviously, as mentioned, different various of bosses, and we got also a total of 7 different grades of the items. So currently where I am, just go back to that Grez. So currently I'm farming sets of grade 4. If you click on it, obviously you got details of how the items will look like and what the set effects are. We're gonna discuss sets effect in just a second. So you want to maximize potential, how far you can actually farm, and the reason for it is as well, obviously you aiming for as strong items in the game as possible, but at the same time you are using exactly same items to level up the ones you're wearing. Meaning, obviously, even though you have unlocked these very sets for your characters, you don't want to sort of set yourself back and then start farming something weaker, because obviously the strongest items you're gonna have, the easier and the quicker you're gonna progress them when it comes to leveling them up. Okay, so this is obviously where you're gonna get your gear, and you need to get it as strong as possible. In order to upgrade, apart the items which I already mentioned, you will also need the Spirit Stone. And this is a second sort of option that you will have unlocked pretty much within the game. And this is what you will have to do on daily basis as well. And then what you need to consider here, that obviously seeds, which can be then replenished by a special pouches, or you can purchase some via diamonds. You've got one resource when it comes to either farming a gear or farming these spirit stones, and the spirit stones are also a material which needs to upgrading, of which I'm gonna show you in just a second. So you just need to be wise. Obviously, if you spend everything on a gear and then you're missing some mineral mine and you do not have any more chances with pouches or diamonds, obviously you will have to wage it well depending on what you do on this particular day. And now if we head over to a character, and then let's take Null as an example, we're going into secondary tab, gear, and this is where we have it. So for example, now if we take the armor, this is obviously the 4th grade I have discussed. And now you've got obviously options to either swap, which means you can choose what else you've got in your inventory and then swap it on your character, or you got option of enhance, which is pretty much the upgrade which I mentioned earlier. And now you can either go with a level 1 or plus 10. It doesn't matter obviously how many you want to go with. It's where you feel comfortable with the amount of gear you've got and amount of spirit stone you've got. And as mentioned earlier, this is obviously where you have to have both resources in order to upgrade. When it comes to levels of the items, they are pretty much dependent on a grade of the items. As mentioned, currently, obviously, as you see, the full set is a grade 4, which means we can get it all the way up to level 40. Grade 3 will be all the way up to 30, and so on and so on. And we've got total of 7 grades, as mentioned earlier. And again, if you see actually the whole set, because we have completed here, we got that full description already displayed. It doesn't matter what quality of the items you will have, because you will also have different qualities. As you see, the purple currently is the strongest quality on that grade 4. But what it basically means, if we click on it, in here you will have a certain amount of HP, which is your main stat, and then obviously then you've got your substats. But when I go, for example, on the amulet itself, I will have this crit rate on plus 8.4, but would have that as a purple item, this percentage would be just higher. So end of the day, if you want to go ahead and complete set, I highly recommend that you'll do it despite of the quality of the items, and then you will just change it. Which that leads into another trick. Every single time you get a gear, doesn't matter what quality it is, you should definitely go and upgrade it. Because for instance, now if I've got this level 38 armor and there would be a higher quality of that, let's say, I don't know, gold item, having this on level 38 and then actually upgrading my higher quality item and using enhance and pretty much selecting this very item, it will just cost me a handful of spirit stone. It won't cost me as much as it costs to level all the way up to 38. It might be 300 or 600 literally to move all these 38 levels into a new item. Obviously, if it's higher quality or bigger grade, it might not be equivalent of level 38, it might be level 30, obviously to get the item stronger, but nothing to worry about. The spirit stone consumption is very, very low. Therefore, meaning that you should constantly upgrade your gear and then only change it into a higher once you unlock this item, because the cost when it comes to spirit stones, it's very minimal. And lastly, what I want to address in here, as I have been playing the game pretty much all the way up to a 3rd grade, I always had a suggestion here when it comes to auto equips. I had that red dot in here suggesting I got something stronger, so I can wear obviously and become a stronger character. But from a grade 4, this no longer is the case, which I believe was sort of a tutorial piece of the game, and this is where you have to come here and manually select all these sets. And I think as well from a grade 4 onwards, you should start aiming for a 5 pieces of one set. Because for example, if we click here on Ellie, I still sort of have 2 different sets where I could play a little bit with Explorer and War Veteran. As you see, there are great bonuses. There is 30% of attack and 30% HP. But I think the higher you get, and actually what I have noticed from a tier 4 or grade 4, wherever you want to call it, the 5-piece bonuses are getting more and more interesting. And I think this will be where they are game changers, because they are great elements associated with. For example, this one, as you see, obviously we're talking here about tank character. We got a defense plus 80 with 2 pieces only, but then we got that further damage reduction of 10% and additional damage reduction 15% when HP is lower than 50%, which means in total we got 25% damage reduction when we add that tough spot. And you know, you want your tank to live as long as possible in order to deal as much damage from your back lines. So I think that will be it, guys. That will be definitely a good starting point when it comes to gear. So if you have not implemented yet, or you just sort of been waiting for a while, then make sure you implement all these quick tips and strategies to get yourself up to speed and get yourself stronger. I hope you found this useful, and if you have, make sure you subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time.